Hey, what's going on? So this is going to be the start of our new series. We're going to be covering book one of Avatar. And before we get into the main meat of the episode, I'll give you a little information about Avatar overall. So, Avatar is about the Last Airbender. And basically, the Airbender was the one that kept all the nations at peace. And what happened is Fire Nation basically went and started attacking, and they've basically took over. And from what we also know, the Avatar has been gone for like 100 years. So that's like the main thing, and this is my thoughts about Avatar thus far. It's the perfect combination of both anime and cartoons simultaneously. It's got 23-minute episodes, similar to what we watch anime wise, which is really awesome. It gives us a lot of time. And yeah, so going straight to the first episode, we start on a boat. We get to meet two characters. We get to meet Katara and Sokka, and they're out there trying to fish. Uh, Katara knows how to waterbend. She's trying to waterbend a fish out of the water, and what happens is her brother basically accidentally hits back, and the fish falls back into the water. And after that, they were just kind of talking. It cuts to something else. We get to meet another character. This is Prince Zuko, and yeah, he's kind of interesting. Part of his face is burnt, and he's a teenager pretty much. And we also get to meet his uncle. They don't really say anything about his uncle's name in the first episode, so I'm not really sure about him. Um, but yeah, they're basically on a ship and they're looking for the Avatar. So after that, it goes back to the boat where our two characters are fishing, and a big current comes out of nowhere, and it basically takes the boat away from them, and they end up landing on this little iceberg on the ocean or in the water. And yeah, they don't have a boat, so they're both arguing. So Katara is arguing with Sokka, and she's basically really mad, and she's using her water bending backwards. And what happens is just she's hitting this giant iceberg, and Sokka's like, whoa, because as she's hitting back waves, it's slowly breaking this giant iceberg, and as it's cracking, it eventually just breaks. And yeah, they kind of both look back, and out of nowhere in this water, there's like this glowing blue, and as we see this blue, it surfaces, and inside is a young looking boy and some type of mammoth like creature. And from there, they Katara wants to free him, and Sokka's against it. Um, whenever she starts breaking him out. He eventually just kind of bursts out, and he flies up and down to them, and we get to meet him. And he's just this young, carefree dude. You know what I mean? He's just chill. And I think one of the most like interesting things that we hear from that whole conversation is him talking about penguin sledding. It's kind of interesting how he got there. Like, well, how did he get there? You know what I mean? That's the question we have. But after that, uh, he decides to try and help them, and we get to meet technically another character, which is Appa. So Appa is like a flying buffalo, and he offers to give him a ride, and they hop on. He tells them that it flies. Sokka doesn't believe it. Anyway, Appa goes up, then down into the water with all of them on the back, and we get to go back to their village. And at their village, we get to meet their tribe, and from there, they're just kind of like, whoa, because they figure out that he's an airbender, and airbenders are very rare now. And, well, after that, they have responsibilities. Katara, Sokka both have responsibilities since after the war. There's a war happening as, we speak. So they're basically like the adults in their village. Besides the granny, which is technically their elder. So we get to see what Sokka's doing. He's teaching the young boys of the village that they're basically warriors, and they're so young that they rather have potty breaks and just play around. Meanwhile, Aang is just goofing off and bringing them along with him to just chill out and just be goofy. From there, we get to see them going over to this like area where there's a bunch of penguins, because he sees a penguin in the distance. He chases it, and I think between all that, we get to go back to the ship where our Prince Suka or Zuko, Prince Zuko, should I say? And he's basically training. His uncle is watching over his training, and I guess basically I think he's his mentor in the horror deal. So he's just a brute, kind of. He's like Vegeta pretty much in a way. So he's using muscle and not actual skill. So after that, he's like wanting to learn a more powerful technique, and his uncle's just kind of like goofing off and not really teaching him fast enough. Let's get back to the sledding. So he sees a penguin, and he's trying to chase a penguin, doesn't succeed. Katara actually followed him over because she's very fascinated with Aang. And from there, Katara basically tells him that I'll help you if you can help me learn to waterbend, because she's still fairly new to the horror deal, and she's just wanting to, I guess, learn. And Aang basically agrees, but he tells her that he can't teach her himself. He has to go to the North Pole. And we also learn that it's their sister tribe. So I guess these nations are so big that they have multiple parts to them. It's not small villages like you see in Naruto. So that's really cool. And after that, they're sledding down the mountain, and it keeps going down and down and down. So finally, we see a ship, and we get some background knowledge about the ship. It was there since Granny, the village elder, was little, and they're scared, and basically no one's allowed to be around the ship. So, with that in mind, our character Aang, the carefree, kind of stupid kid stereotype, he goes towards the ship, Katara along with him. And from there, Aang tries to get Katara to come, and she's like, no. Her and her people are basically scared. They think it's booby trapped. And he basically tells her, if you want to be an airbender, or not an airbender, but a bender, that you have to have no fear. And from there, she boards with him, and they're kind of exploring this deserted ship. It's very dark. They finally get to this one room, and you'll never guess it. It shuts the door whenever they enter this room, and it sets off this like firework that basically flares for Fire Nation. So that ship now knows where Aang is. They basically escape from that room through this hole because he's an airbender. From that, all we know from this episode is that they're going to be chased from the Fire Nation guys. So the prince is very interested in getting him. It's basically like this thing where his dad and so forth have all wanted to get this avatar since it's been like 100 something years. And I thought this was one of the better series I've ever seen as far as cartoons go. It's actually a meaty version of a cartoon that isn't just a bunch of one shot episodes where it's all just meaningless. I feel like things are gonna matter, but at the same time, should I say, it's not like there's gonna be like a lot of progression. It's still gonna be cartoony enough to where people can watch it and enjoy it. So, my take from it, I'll rate Avatar a good 8.5 thus far. And I know that's not the best score to give it, but it's the start and it's the first episode. And yeah, I hope you guys like this new style and this new episode to episode take. Anyway, hope the best for you guys. Peace.